Hi, Jennifer here. I'm so glad that you've tuned into my YouTube channel. If you're new, welcome. If you're returning, I super appreciate your being here, especially after my prolonged absence, it seems like. These are the materials that we're going to be working with today. Just a few things that I picked up at the Dollar General, a few plaques that were Christmas oriented, and then some coasters. I also have designed 3 new decoupage papers for this video. I did that before I knew I was going to be absent for a while, and then when I came home I just put this video together pretty quickly, and I thought I would explain where I've been as we progress in the video. My usual go-to method for removing labels is my heat gun, but that didn't seem to do the trick this time. Maybe I just didn't leave it on there long enough, but instead I'm using this flat razor to scrape up that price tag from the Dollar General. These were like on the deepest clearance after Christmas, maybe 90% off. So I have a bunch of them. Couldn't find all of them, but I did get my hands on 4 of them. And then I also had a bunch of coasters. They were resetting one of our Dollar Generals in my neighborhood here, and I got 160 items at the Dollar General for $90. Okay, so I've printed out my decoupage paper onto rice paper. That's my go-to paper right now, unless I'm ordering decoupage paper, and that would be in a bigger size. But for these particular images, the face of those signs is about 6.5 inches, so I just printed those out on a sheet of 8.5 by 11 rice paper, and then I taped it to a regular piece of printer paper to carry it through my printer. I'm just using Mod Podge to adhere my graphic down to my sign face there. I'm using the lightest, thinnest coat. I'm spreading it evenly, making sure I don't have any globs or uneven streaks as I go. Now I'm going to cover up some of those coasters. I've painted them white, and again I've painted out those little box signs as well. They had a Christmas design on them. These coasters had like a monogram on them, and I just painted the tops of them white. I left the rest of them alone. And now I'm just trimming out my little coaster designs, and I'm going to decoupage those things all in the same way. If you're curious about what I'm going to seal coasters with, I will tell you what I'm going to seal them with. I have an automotive spray sealer. I forget the name of it. Actually, I'm waiting for Amazon to deliver it because I was all out. But I used basically a heavy-duty spray enamel that you would spray on a car. It's super waterproof, and it makes these last a really long time. Because obviously if you buy coasters, you know, from somebody, you expect them to be usable. So let's keep them usable. You could also honestly use dishwasher safe Mod Podge, and I think that would protect them for the most part, but I think it would just make them water resistant, probably not waterproof. I'm not sure, because honestly I've just always done it the way I've done it. Now these designs were created from photos that I took at a little hobby farm in Fort Myers, except for that little brown cow that you're looking at right now. That is actually my bestseller bovine, just a different pose than how I usually sell him. And we are going to discuss how I create my own decoupage paper. I had mentioned that in one of my last videos, and y'all were all for it. But I haven't been home to do those things. So very soon we will discuss that. One of the reasons we haven't done that yet is that I have to find a program that everybody has access to. So, you know, I would use Photoshop and programs like that. Not everybody has Photoshop or access to Photoshop, but Canva is free and everybody can use it. I just don't know how to use it because I never have. So I kind of have to educate myself that way. So I'm working on that, but basically you can see, I mean, you can sort of figure it out. I start with my photograph that I took. I render it to look like generally an oil painting, and then I just drop it onto a pre-made background that I don't have anything to do with. I don't create it. I don't paint it. Somebody else did the work. Generally, I find them on Creative Fabrica. So I'm just going to explain that to you right now. Okay, so I'm just making a few of those coasters. Let's talk about where I've been. So if you've been following me on YouTube, I do post. It used to be called the community tab. Now it's just called posts, but I have been posting. So if you have your notifications on, you should have received several notifications for me to let you know where I was and what was going on. So my girl Chloe, and if you know me, if you're my friend, or you know me personally, you know that I raised two of my sister's kids from childhood along with my own. So Chloe is 26 years old. She went in for a routine laparoscopic outpatient surgery and ended up in complete heart failure on the severest form of life support. So I spent 9 days in Nashville at Vanderbilt University Hospital. At first determined to stay until I knew she would live, and then determined to stay until we had some sweet moments together and I knew that she was going to recover. So that's where I've been. It was a harrowing 9 days, much longer for Chloe. It turned out to be more like a month-long medical saga, and it's going to be much longer than that because she went home on some equipment still and will be relying on her husband as a full-time caregiver for an indefinite period of time. We don't know how long it's going to take, and they have 5 children, so there was a lot going on. So I just wanted to explain that to you. That's where I've been, but I'm back. I'm back with a lighter heart and so much thankfulness and gratitude, but also a lot of concern going forward. You can see that I let that decoupage paper dry, and now I am using my little thumb sander to sand off the edges, just like I would if I were working on something else like we do all the time. That's just the easiest way to get those edges trimmed up, and it makes a nice feather effect. And I'm also not real sad if I scrape some of that paint off along the way. I'm okay that these might look a little rustic. That's sort of usually all the look we're going for. You can also see that I've completed my coasters the same way. These ones here are waiting to dry, and those ones on the left have been dried, and they are already sanded down. I'm just making these coasters in pairs, like sets of 2, and then you're going to see how I bundle them together. That's how they'll look when I sell them. Listen, my brain's been a little bit mushy since I got home. Like, seriously, like I forgot how to spell decoupage for my thumbnail. And I'm a real good speller, but I just couldn't come to my mind. Anyway, I just sprayed these with hairspray. Normally, I would seal them with hairspray before I decoupaged. That's just step number 2. I pull it from the printer and I spray them with hairspray. I 100% totally forgot to do that. And so, no harm, no foul. I just did it afterwards. Probably not the best way to have done it, but like I said, I'm sort of not been cooking with gas for the last few days. I'm trying real hard. I'm relying on the Lord to do what I can't do, and I'm also, like I said, super, super thankful that Chloe is home and has a great husband who's taken on the role of caregiver, but my heart is there. Definitely wanting to be of service and of help to her. But, that's the thing about having grown kids, is they're just always your kids. You always want to be near them. So, anyway, here we are. I'm just using my thumb sander again to sand all around those edges. I really love the way these turn out. I love the designs. This particular horse, I actually took the photograph of the horse at a rodeo. This was one of their bucking broncos, and he was bucking all across the stadium, and I happened to get a couple great pictures of him. Not great enough to draw by any means. They were so, not blurry, but in motion, and wouldn't have lasted through the process of enlarging them to be big enough for me to see to draw them. I'm sorry that's so blurry. I need to move it over in the frame a little bit more, and it wouldn't have been blurry, but I can't see that when I'm doing this. So here I am. This horse, what I was saying is it lent itself really well to this type of treatment. Like I could render it as an oil painting in Photoshop much more effectively than I could have blown it up great big to draw. It would have been pixelated and not good quality. That was blurry too. Sometimes my camera just doesn't know where to grab, but it did there at the last second. I think there's a way I can fix that, and I always say I'm going to do that, and then I forget to do that. So I've got to do that. I have a great camera out in my workshop. But I'm sort of afraid to like take it down because I have it now exactly where I want it. So I'm sort of afraid to mess with it. And there's our little bovine. He is just the sweetest little bull. And I have sold the heck out of him in the last 5 years that we've been doing the Barnyard Boutique and doing shows. He's just by far my number one seller. Alright, so in a few minutes I'm going to bundle those coasters up for you so you can see what they look like. But I'm sure right now I'm just sanding them down more. I'm going to clean up my mess because sometimes I remember to do that. I'm taking out my my cutting, what is that called? It's like a self-healing mat, and I got it at the bins. I have a bunch of them, and every time I see them at the bins, I grab them because they are so super useful. That's another thing I'm going to have coming up. I have recorded myself at the bins a few times, and I haven't actually sat down to make a video of that, but I plan to do that soon. Here's the horse on one of those sign faces. I'm using this black archival ink to add some distressing around the edges. I like the brown ink, but I don't know where I put my brown ink pad. I took it to the library for junk journaling, and I haven't retrieved all my junk journaling stuff and put it back where it goes. It's a terrible habit. I don't put things back when I need to. So, you know, confession's good for the soul. So there you have my confession. You know what else is good for the soul? Putting stuff back where it goes. That's a really great thing. Anyway, so I distressed that one. I think the black looks really good actually with the mane. The mane is black on the horse. So I'm not sad about that. I think I like it. I like how these turned out. I can't wait to get really back into my workshop and start being creative again. It's so good for me, for my soul, for therapy, for, you know, comfort, all those things that crafting is good for and art is good for. I miss that. I'm ready to just sort of rest my mind and get some great things done. I made 2 of those little cows, baby cows. That's actually a baby Highlands cow, and then there's my bovine again. He's just the sweetest. I love him. He's precious. Okay, so now I'm going to take these coasters and I'm just going to tie them up into little bundles of 2. So I'm going to sell them in pairs, probably sell them for $10 for 2 of them. They're going to be tied like a gift, and I'm just going to put little sprigs of flowers in them, just one of each of those flowers, a little bud, and then a little daisy type flower. I'm just gonna, it takes me a second of struggle to figure out how I'm going to put those in the bow, because I definitely don't want to hot glue anything here. That's not what we want to do. So I'm just tying them like you would tie a gift, wrapping that twine around horizontally and then vertically, and then also tying those sprigs into the end package there, and then tying a bow. So that's how I do that. It's super simple. I make it look much harder than it is. Because honestly, this first week back home, let's see, today's Monday. I got home last Wednesday. So I'm telling you, the first couple days I was shocked at how tired I was and how much I just needed to decompress. So going out in my workshop just wasn't even an option for me. I really just needed to stay home and talk to my husband and just sort of be present in my own home. And if I feel this way, I can just imagine how Chloe feels. She was literally on death's doorstep for several weeks. And, even before her heart failed, she was in an immense amount of pain and her body was in shock. So, bless her heart, I just can't imagine how she must feel. And I'm trying to, give them a healthy space and not, be a daily intrusion in their lives. I'm trying to be a wise parent and let them reach out to me when they need me. So anyway, so there's my first little bundle of coasters. I love the way these turned out. I think it's a great little project. These are going to be available to you, these designs, over on Zazzle. Many of you have bought some of my previous designs, so these will be over there. There are several sizes available, and y'all have asked me why you have to buy 3 sheets. I don't know. That's the question for Zazzle. That's the way they do it. Probably, I'm sure they print thousands and thousands of designs every day. I'm sure that's just their minimum. So you do have to print 3 sheets, but I've left the edit option open for y'all. So if you want your images to be smaller than what they provide, you can actually select the image and resize it to fit on the paper as many times as you want. So let's say instead of wanting 1 image per sheet of paper, you could do 4 images, kind of like a master board, only with the same picture. So that's always an option. I've left that option open for you. And when we do our video on how to create your own decoupage paper, I will definitely record the screen and go over that with you so y'all can see. Stick around to the end so you can see how these projects turn out. I love them. I will see you very soon in another thrifting and Goodwill bins video. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.